right, let's get straight to it. 2013 Nissan Altima. This is the 2.5 liter engine. Today we are changing front brake pads. This is what your brake pads should look like. And this is what your hardware should look like. So the first thing I'm going to do is remove this cap off this brake reservoir and just set it back gently on top, just like that. That way the air inside of here will have somewhere to go, and if the fluid happens to come out, it won't hurt this seal. All right, I got the car in the air and I have my jack stand in place. And I'm using this beam that runs from the front to the back here instead of using the pinch weld on this side. So the front wheel is not going to spin, but for the parking paw's sake, if you're not using a impact, then if you're using something like a breaker bar or a four-way, then I would leave the vehicle mostly on the ground with the weight on the tire, then get these loose, then raise it up all the way and finish getting them off, just to take a little stress off the parking paw. All right, so once we get the tire off, we can see the two bolts that need to be removed, one right here and one down here on this bottom. So they're 14 millimeters and they may have a tendency to spin. So if they spin, you can get a wrench or pliers on this back nut here and hold that, and then you'll be able to get this out. Same thing for the one down here. So I'm using a small 3/8 breaker bar and a 14 millimeter 6-point socket. That way I don't strip these bolts, and once I get it loose, I'll just use this ratchet wrench right here to finish getting them out. Now, if it's really loose, I'll just use my hand and finish getting those out. So let's just go ahead and get both of these bolts out right now. So I like using these hooks right here to hold these calipers up instead of using zip ties and wire and such. It's real simple to use. So now we can go ahead and remove our brake pads. If you can't remove them by hand, then you can use a flathead or a prying tool to get these out. And the same thing with this hardware. If you can't remove them by hand, a flathead or prying tool like this should get it done. And now is a good time to get this cleaned up right here. You want to get this caliper bracket, these grooves cleaned up, top, bottom, and on the insides. So I'm going to clean these up and come right back. And once you're done, if you don't have compressed air, you can use a can of air duster and blow that extra dust away. Let's check out our guide pins. Make sure that they're going in and out really smoothly. This one here also. All right, so I can feel the grease in there and it's nice and smooth. So there's no reason for me to mess with this and try to fix it and mess it up. So this is nice. So next time we do the brakes again, we'll check. If it's too firm and not as smooth as it is right now, then we'll remove these, clean them, re-grease them, and put them back in. But for now, they're good. All right, so let's put our brake hardware on now that it's clean in these grooves. It's pretty simple. Set them in there and snap them in. And make sure it's all the way seated, especially on the inside where you can't see as well. Same thing for the top. Like I said, double check that inside. All right, we're nice and seated. So now we can start to insert our brake pads. So when inserting the brake pads, you want this piece here to go underneath here, and you want this piece to kind of sit up like this on this tall part on the top. So I'm gonna turn it inside first, then push it in like that, and you can see how that's sitting right there, sitting on top of that back plate. So now I'm going to do the same thing to the one in the back. All right, so that back pad is in as well. So this is my setup here. I have my old pad and C-clamp. So I'm going to turn this clockwise to get this all the way in, and then we can get our caliper back on. So now it's time for us to apply our brake grease to the caliper. So when applying brake grease, a lot of people like to apply it right on the back of the pads, but I don't like to do it that way. I like to put it directly on the face of the piston where it makes contact with the back of the brake pads, and I like to put the rest on the 2 forks on the opposite side where the other brake pad sets. All right, so we're sliding these on, making sure everything is good, and then so we can get these bolts on the back. So I'm gonna get these 2 bolts in the back here loosely just to hold this together. All right, so I got the bolts in, they're not all the way tightened down yet. So just in case these right here spin, like I said before, you can hold this with a wrench or pliers and finish tightening these up. So I'm gonna go ahead and tighten both of these down now. All right, so I got both of them tightened down. So the caliper is all the way on and our brake pads are changed. So once we get our tire back on, that'll be it. All right, guys, the tire's back on. So the only thing left to do now is put our brake reservoir cap back on and lower the wheel. So that's pretty much it. That's how you change your front brakes on a 2012 Nissan Altima.